We have a pretty big update and news to take a look at here today involving one of the better New York Rangers prospects who are also pretty much NHL ready as well, and that prospect is Berard. So we're going to take a look at this prospect. I'll give you a bit of a scouting report / player breakdown on him as well, and we'll take a look at his stats as well as an article here kind of talking about what the kind of expectations are for Berard for this upcoming season and where he'll start this season, whether it is the AHL or the NHL. So let's get right into it here. Taking a look at the article here from NHL.com writer David Satriano, he says, quote, Berard is expected to begin this season in the AHL, but could join the Rangers at some point. And that is exactly kind of what I figured would happen now for the last, while in the last few months. I kind of figured he'd be a guy to probably start in the AHL. Yeah, I think he has a chance to possibly, earn a spot in the NHL team. But with another guy like Brennan Othmann there kind of fighting for a spot on the roster, I think the Rangers would probably give it to Othmann over a guy like Berard. Just kind of my opinion there, kind of my thoughts on the situation. So assuming that Othmann probably ends up getting a spot, which I think is probably going to happen. I'll have an update coming in the next couple of days as well, kind of talking about his situation. But Berard here, I think, is a very talented prospect. I really like him a lot. I think he's kind of developed quite a bit and fairly well for a guy who, was a former 5th round pick by the Rangers way back at the 2020 NHL draft with pick number 134 overall. He's an undersized forward, but has really kind of taken some massive steps in his overall development over the last, few seasons with the Providence College team there at the college level in the NCAA, but also with the Wolfpack, over this last season, playing a full season with them, but also had a bit of a sample size back in 2022, 2023. He played 3 games there with the Wolfpack, kind of got a bit of a taste for pro hockey, but I think he's taken some massive steps with this Rangers organization. Is definitely looking like one of the better prospects in this whole entire system, but also one of the more NHL ready guys. Him and Othmann are 2 forward prospects who I definitely think will make an impact at some point, whether they do, both start in the AHL possibly, which definitely could happen. I think these are 2 prospects who definitely have a legit chance to play on this NHL team at some point throughout this season. Whether they start the season or not, they still are going to have a chance at a match at some point to play in the NHL, get a bit of a taste for it, and possibly make a pretty big impact, especially a guy like Brendan Othmann. But also Berard will be fighting for a spot on this team as well. But I don't think it's a good idea to have either of these prospects just sit on the 4th line there. I'd much rather see either of these guys, get kind of top line or top 6 minutes with some power play time in the AHL rather than have them on the 4th line there. So I don't see either of these guys, being on that 4th line. If they're going to make this NHL team, I'd imagine either of them would be on that kind of 3rd line there. Possibly Othmann could get a chance alongside Kreider and Zibanejad, but the more I kind of think about it, I think we're going to see, which is kind of what I kind of want to see, is a guy like Riley Smith there alongside Kreider and Zibanejad, possibly have Othmann on the 3rd line there, and then probably have Berard in the AHL. But like I said, I'll have an update more in depth on Othmann in the coming days as well. But getting back to Berard here and taking a look at what he did this past season with the Wolfpack, he had a pretty phenomenal season in his first full year of pro hockey. He had 3 games back in 2022, 2023 after finishing his season with the Providence College team there. But still, this past season in the AHL had a phenomenal season. Had 71 games played, 25 goals, 23 assists, 48 total points, put up some phenomenal numbers there. And in the playoffs, also had 10 games played, 1 goal, 5 assists, 6 points, so produced quite well in the playoffs and put up some phenomenal numbers in the regular season as well. And with those 48 points, Brett Berard ended up finishing tied for 3rd place on the entire Hartford Wolfpack team in points with 48 there. Tied with Nick Bedane, who also had 48, but he did have 12 more games played than Nick there. So bit of a difference, but still finishing 3rd place as a rookie. His first full year in the AHL is not too bad, but also ended up finishing with the highest goal total among all Hartford Wolfpack players. So that was pretty great to see as a rookie. First in goals, tied for 3rd in points is not too bad at all. He had a pretty great all-around season. Definitely was a big part in why this Wolfpack team had a pretty good playoff run as well. Didn't win the whole thing, obviously, but still had a pretty good run. And he was definitely a big part of that with his 6 points that he ended up having. And back in 2021, 2022, he ended up having a phenomenal season with the Providence College team in the NCAA, having 36 games played, 18 goals, 20 assists, 38 points, plus 10 there. Very good season, but then took a pretty big step back in his overall offensive production in the 2022-2023 season, having 36 games played there, 10 goals, 14 assists, 24 points, but 14 less points in the exact same amount of games played there, only a +5. So the numbers definitely dropped off quite a bit there offensively, but ends up bouncing back big time this past season, putting up 48 points there in the Wolfpack there in the AHL. Had a phenomenal season there, so it definitely was great to see him bounce back from a pretty disappointing season, honestly. As a third-year guy, having 14 less points in the second year was a little disappointing, but he ends up bouncing back big time this past season. Definitely looked like a phenomenal prospect and is proving the Rangers right there in selecting him in the 5th round. I mean, that is an absolute steal of getting a guy of this caliber in the 5th round there, who also brings a bit of physicality, some grittiness, some toughness, but also can be a bit of pest out there as well. That is definitely quite nice to see. Taking a look now, though, kind of what he brings to this New York Rangers team. Like I said, he's a bit undersized forward there at 5'9", 174 pounds, left-handed shot, left winger, but still is a pretty physical and tough guy for his size. Can play with a bit of an edge to his game there. Plays with a lot of energy. He still is only 21, turning 22 in September. He's also a pretty good skater there, quite agile and fairly fast. He's got a good shot and overall good scoring ability. He's got good passing and I would say pretty good vision as well. I would say just an all-around really good offensive threat. He's not an elite in kind of one area there. He's not some elite passer or elite goal scorer, but I would say he's pretty good in both areas there. Definitely can score, possibly 20 goals at the NHL level, 20, 25 goals possibly while putting up, 30-something assists possibly. Definitely could be a somewhat kind of realistic, attainable goal for him at some point. Not right away, maybe even if he does, make an impact this upcoming season or even the next one after that. But eventually at the NHL level could definitely be, a 20-plus goal guy, 30-plus this kind of guy. That is an attainable kind of a possibility for him. Does it end up happening? We'll have to wait and see, but that's kind of the potential I do see for a guy like this, possibly playing in some kind of a middle six role, I would imagine, at the NHL level. But probably more of a kind of a third liner potentially, but could be a very good third liner, kind of low tier second line guy is kind of what I'm guessing. I think he has all around pretty good hockey IQ as well. Pretty good defensively, not going to be some elite defensive kind of winger there, but for an undersized winger, definitely a pretty good kind of two-way guy. I would say could possibly end up being on the power play 2 at the NHL level. Don't think he'll ever be a power play 1 kind of guy, but power play 2 is definitely a possibility with him. And just all around, I would probably say he's going to project to be a kind of third liner, maybe a fourth liner as well. And that kind of is the thing with him as well, is he does have a bit of physicality there. He's decent defensively, plays with a lot of energy there, so he could find himself on that fourth line one day if he can't crack that kind of middle six role. But either way, I think this guy is going to be a pretty solid NHLer for years to come. With his kind of playing style, the energy, his speed, his all-around kind of pretty solid game there, I think he does have the chance to be a pretty good NHLer for a very long time for possibly this Rangers team. But anyways, in the comment section down below, definitely let me know your thoughts on Brett Berard here. I think he's a pretty talented prospect and definitely could be a very solid top 9 forward. So comment down below your thoughts on Brett here. Also, don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button for daily New York Rangers content. All more prospect kind of news and updates and kind of scouting reports, plus player breakdowns throughout the rest of this offseason. Thanks for watching. I'll catch you next one. See ya.